All right. Hi, everyone. Now that I've unmuted my microphone, this is going to be an even better stream. Yeah, Megatron 726. That is Backstreet's Back, everybody. One of the greatest music videos of all time. I think probably made at peak music video, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like right when music videos were most the thing, they threw all the money at that music video, and it showed, and it's amazing. Um, how hope everyone's doing all right. Thanks for joining me today. Today we've got a sort of a branching path that we can take, which meaning we could potentially work on a couple different things. But I think that what I want to play with is Vue, Vue. I'll pull that up in just a second. Vue is a JavaScript framework. It is a kind of slick one, sort of in the family of React, but sort of dedicated to web stuff. React is sort of this. React's aegis is we can make this, descriptive UI for all part of things. And Vue's like, we're going to make a really, really good web version of this. And they're different, and I don't think there's a wrong choice between React and Vue, but I've never played with Vue in depth, so I want to play with Vue today. And we're going to sit down and make some basic Vue stuff and then make some cool stuff. So we're going to start. I tricked out my stream a little bit since we last joined. I have a MIDI controller here. Just like it's like a MIDI controller with buttons and knobs and stuff. And I can do things like push a button and change the scene. Hang on a sec. See that? I can like mute my mic so I can be talking. Talk. Super cool. I'm really excited. It's just a fun toy. Keyboard Maestro lets me like take like a MIDI controller and wire it up to key combos and stuff like that. Super fun. I also now have a way to put a little bit of text at the bottom of my screen. You can see a current project at the bottom there. Right now it says current project foobar, which is sort of meaningful. But I have a little terminal command that I can say current project something with Vue, and then I can update that. So if folks want to play along, they can totally play along. This way I don't have to be constantly pasting what I'm doing in the chat, and people who join can see what's going on. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Just a couple little things. I'm trying to geek out with my streaming setup a little bit. That text is a little small, actually. We're gonna do the smallest bit of stream maintenance right on stream because everyone loves that. That's just good programming, right? everyone loves someone screwing with their stream on stream. But yeah, so little text at the bottom. It's just going to describe what I'm up to, and hopefully, I can't type, but otherwise, it's going to update on the screen and say, hey, what we're working on. All right. So speaking of what we're working on, let's begin. I have to say, also I'm a big fan. Real quick, I know I was about to begin, but a big fan of my new wallpaper. I spent a bunch of time playing with an old piece of code that occasionally makes the rounds on the internet, and it's this business card ray tracer. Let me see if I can find the business card ray tracer. Add it in my. Not super important, but there we go. This is a cool article. It's about this person who wrote this super short C++ program. Bump up the font size. Nilly Line, hello, thank you for following. This person who wrote this, like, now they work at Pixar, but their business card had a C++ program on it, and if you compiled and ran the C++ program, it would generate this image. And I was like, that's rad. I wonder if I could port that to JavaScript. And so I definitely did. And so if we go back to my glitch page, you can see down here, I haven't pinned it yet, but there's this project called Mangrove Chive. And if you go to this, I'll drop a link in chat. When you go into this, be careful. This is a ray tracer, and it uses web workers actually, and it wants to devour all of your CPU cycles. But if you go to this URL, it will actually fire up a bunch of web workers and render a scene using this ray tracer. And I took an earlier version of this and totally tricked it out and made it 1920 by 1080 with high samples and ray traced this wallpaper using this sort of code golfed ray tracer. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think it makes a killer wallpaper. So you might be able to hear my fan spinning up in the background as this churns, but it's literally spinning up. I think I have it spinning up 6 to 8 threads, and using web workers to fire, bounce rays around and compute every pixel. I put the link to the project here, and you can click around to view the source if you want to play with that later. But today, that is not what we are playing with, though that would be fun. I've spent just enough time playing with that. We are going to play with Vue. So I'm going to very quickly get my browser all set. We are playing with Vue.js because honestly, I haven't played with Vue.js and I want to learn how to make stuff using this. So we will likely just dive right in, but I'm going to take a look. I'm just going to hit there, get started. I've got burned in the past for diving in too head first, not reading a little bit, so we're going to read just a tiny bit. Bear with me while I skim here. It's a progressive framework for building user interfaces. It's designed to ground to be incrementally adoptable. Okay, Vue layer only, so like React, it's primarily the core is based on just Vue. Vue is for Vue, it checks out, but you can, attach other stuff to it to make it more sophisticated. Totally makes sense. Comparison, okay. Guide assumes intermediate knowledge of HTML, CSS, JS. Rad. And it looks like there are some JS Fiddle examples we could play with right here. We may jump and take a look at those. Of course, I would love to get those moved over to Glitch as well and play with them over on Glitch. This looks eminently simple. Oh, that looks so wonderfully, charmingly simple. Okay, so we're going to start playing with Vue and build up to something cool. If at any point during the stream you have a cool idea for something I can do with Vue, please drop something in the chat and we'll see what we can do. I don't really have a big project in mind just yet. I want to get things working potentially with some of the fancier things that Vue could do, but at that point we'll then branch out and make something cool. So we're going to start with just getting the absolute basic hello world, and then we're going to build from there. Like I said, have a cool idea, drop it in chat. So I'm going to say, now I'm drunk with power, I can say. I can now put all these fun messages right in my screen. This is fantastic. Okay, so make Jeopardy. Oh, look at that. Straight into... Someone swinging straight for the fences. All right, you know what? Making legally distinct from Jeopardy game. Boom. All right, that's what we're doing. Paperback Walnut, thank you for the assist. We're going to learn Vue, and then we're going to make a legally distinct from Jeopardy game that still involves a grid of clues. Not one here to go bringing down the Merv Griffin heat. So, all right, let's start playing with Vue a little bit. I'm just going to create a new glitch project because that's what we do when we build things. New project. I'm going to say Express because I know that Vue, I can do just stuff with the client side. I know ultimately they have some fancy compiling and .vue files and things like that. I've seen a little bit about that. So we're going to build a server project. We've got Typhoon Verse. In case everyone was wondering, today's project is Typhoon Verse. So if you'd like to follow along, you absolutely can. And I will drop the link in the chat. So if you want to actually look at the project while I'm looking at the project, you can do that. And then I will also probably drop a link to that in the description of what we're doing today. Boom. Look at this text on screen. We are really out here today. New thing that I'm going to bump up my font size so I can show you my absolute favorite new thing in Glitch that's still not fully shipped yet, but I'm helping beta test. Check these out right here. I don't know if you can see this, but I have folders. I have folders, collapsible folders. No longer have a flat file tree. You can actually have collapsible folders. I know that sounds stupid, but when you haven't had folders before and you're making a lot of files, you really miss them. So I'm super excited that we're gonna have. Who do I know a glitch that got me on the beta? Oh yeah, no, I got the deep inside connection. Probably shouldn't necessarily, just in case it's causing like data destroying After Effects. I'm not going to share how to turn that on quite yet, but look for that coming soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think people are going to be stoked to have folders. So we're playing with Vue today. Let's pull up. Looks like we're going to start with the most basic thing in the world, and that's going to be this view hello world. And I'm just going to crib some of this code straight from this JS fiddle just to make sure that we can get it working. I'm not above cribbing some code. And I'm going to drop some stuff in this page. We've got a div ID app. I'm going to change that div to a main because that's how I roll. All right. And then we're going to, got our client. And what was that code from the hello world? Copy that. And pop up that live view so we can start the live view of that live view. And start. Pop that into an external window so we can see what we've got going on here. All right, hopefully that's not, let's collect. I need to get like a marker on my screen for where my screen boundary is. There it is. We'll shrink that down and bump up that font size for the time being so folks can see what we got going on the right. And maybe I'll even shrink this window down so we can get that side-by-side action. I think that's probably all we need. And I'll tile this in there too. Sweet. All right. Hello, hello, King440. I'm doing all right. It is a beautiful Wednesday. The weather is nice here in California. Finally, no more rain. All right, King440. I don't know if you can see these chat rules just to the side here, where we say no fights over which framework, library, and language is better. But that's a thing I'm going to kind of enforce on this stream. I'm not here to get in fights over what people should or shouldn't be using. So just, we're going to watch the both the language and the antagonism about frameworks. And that is your warning. So, all right, we're playing with Vue today. We got our element. We're making an app. It says hello Vue.js. That's rad. Okay, I'm going to close up some of this other stuff. Super basic. We haven't gotten very far yet, but here we go. So we've got our basic. Let's take a look. Let's jump straight to our second app, maybe. This one seems a little bit more advanced. We're just going to throw that right in the same page, because why not? We're going to make a big clown car. All right, so we've got two apps in the same page. Halt and catch, hello. And I'm going to go grab that extra block of code and drop that. And now we've got a real double clown car situation here. And this says it has a title, so we're going to hover. I loaded this page at 1:18 p.m. California time. All right. So, what are we actually looking at here with this second example? Because actually, I just pasted that in. And we've got, okay, so app 2, it's got this thing called vbind title, and that's got message. So let's see. vbind, that's not a normal thing. That's not a normal JS thing. So let's see. It's a directive. Directives are prefixed with v to indicate they're special attributes provided by Vue, and they add behavior to the DOM. So we're saying keep this element's, sorry, we bumped that font size up for you. Keep this element's title attribute up to date with the message property on the Vue interest. If I open up my console again and enter app2.message equals some new message, you'll see the bound HTML, in this case the title attribute, has been updated. All right, let's take a look. So they're saying that now if I go in here and say app2.message some new message, and I hover that, it says some new message. Fair enough. Okay, so they're doing some data binding. That's pretty cool. And then they've got vif scene. Okay, so the if, I'm going to guess, lets me take a Boolean and show something or not show something. Rad. So sort of a basic templating environment, but also data binding. Super cool. And then we've got loops. So for to-do and to-dos, so it's going to make an li for every to-do in to-dos. And that's going to loop through and make some stuff. Okay, we're going to drop app 4 in. App 4 looks cool. I like app 4. App 4 seems like a friend. And I love that they're giving me JS that can all be loaded into the same page. I think that's awesome. Oh, my ESLint is complaining about okay, so now we've got some to-dos and boom. Okay, that's awesome. Can I say done true? Now we're going to start freestyling here a little bit. Okay, so how do we get that if action? What was the if action here? If scene, data scene. Okay. To do dot. Oh, to do dot. Okay. So it's going to be to do dot done. Boom. That's pretty cool. All right. So real quick, we sort of took a couple pieces and stuck them together here. So we've got our to do and to do's, to do dot text. I added this if done, add a check mark. Okay. Pretty basic, but still pretty useful to know how the conditionals of the loops work. Because if something tells me we're going to need conditionals and loops. User input, it would be the third thing we're going to need. So I'm going to quick copy and paste these as well, because something tells me I'm going to need to know how to do user interaction. And from here, we will build our non-Jeopardy grid-based question and answer trivia game. Upon this rock. Upon this copy-pasted code, we will build our kingdom. Okay, so sure enough, v.on, click. So they're using v.on. And over here, we've got, so we're not listening for the handler. We're not listening for a click handler in JS. We're using the v.on click to assign a method called reverse message that's attached to this. Yeah, that looks okay. That makes sense. That checks out. And then what's this last one? Model. Okay, what does model let me do? Model says message. Oh, I see. That's going to do two-way binding. So I can take the object message and say, cool, rad. That's kind of neat. I don't know 100% if we're going to need that, but it's good to know. So, composing with components. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Components. Obviously, I can just make individual little blobs of HTML, but I feel like component-based design is the way to go. So, okay. Now we're getting real fancy. Now we're really getting fancy. Okay. Gonna copy, I think app 7 is like our next like masterclass here. Looks like it's got all the elements. This is like maybe not the best way to learn this, but this is what we're doing today. Is pushing through and figuring out how to make something more complex. And I'm liking these examples. They're just stacking one on top of another. That text on my screen looks really bad. Oh, that outline looks really bad. Sorry, what real quick. That's bothering me, so I'm just gonna switch that and see if it looks a little better. And text is hard. Who knew? Who knew? All right. Not much better. Okay. This is why we don't do things literally right before our stream starts. Because when you do, you look like a dingus. Whatever. It's readable enough for today. I'm not too worried about it. Okay. So, I no longer have this, which makes sense. Okay, so we now have our like basic component to do item. It has a property called to do, and that to do has text. Oh, this is interesting. So how is this being bound to that? To do item. There's a to do item here, and it's for every item in our grocery list. Oh, that's wild. What's the differentiating feature of Vue.js compared to others? Honestly, I don't have a super strong answer to that question. I don't 100% know. I know React, my React knowledge is pretty up to date. I haven't played with Angular since Angular 1. But here, let's pull up their comparison document. Let's see what they say it is. React and Vue both have a virtual DOM, both have reactive and composable Vue components, components in the for library. In React, everything's JS. Not only are HTML structures expressed via JSX, the recent trends also tend to put CSS management inside there. It sounds like Vue is not necessarily all in on the CSS and JS thing. That's an entire third rail that I don't want to talk about right now. CSS and JS. It's not. I don't prefer it, but there's no wrong way to use your CSS. Make it work. JSX doesn't mean the user needs to learn anything. It's just syntax on top of JS. Okay. So this is not going to be this is a long article with comparisons of other frameworks. I invite you to go read this. The answer is they're similar but different. I think there's some small philosophy differences. It seems like, yeah, Vue is designed to like really get you out the gate and moving fast. So I'm going to bounce back. All right, am I ready for more? In a large application, it's necessary to divide the whole app into components to make development manageable. We'll talk about components later in the guide. Here's an imaginary app template that might have components. Div nav. Cool, relation to custom elements. Vue components are very similar to custom elements. That's because it's modeled after the spec. Vue components implement slot API and is. That's pretty cool. Web component specs finalized but not natively implemented. And cross-component data flow. Okay, sure. Let's do this. Beverage. Creating a view instance and passing in an options object. HA Piano. The Vue talks at meetups are, hey, this is Vue, and when I is that when you leave the room, you go get a yogurt, when you come back, they're already done? That's fantastic. Okay. Sure, that checks out. When it adds all properties found in its data object to the reactivity system, which means they're adding watchers and stuff like that. Object.freeze would freeze things. Sure, okay. Life cycle hooks, series of initialization steps when it's created, data observation, compile templates, mount instance to the DOM, update DOM, and the data changes. Cool. All right. Vue uses HTML-based templates. Interpolations can I see vHTML. Okay, so by default they're escaping their HTML. Cool, I love it. And mustaches can't be used inside dynamic attributes. Instead, you use vbind. Okay, so you use a vbind thing to say, hey, if I want to take the title and attach it to a thing. That's fair. That's fair. vbind is smart. It's taking a look at Boolean attributes like disabled and just adding and not adding the attribute depending on whether or not the thing is true or false. Cool. JS expressions. That's interesting. Are they actually executing that code? Hmm. Yep. Some directives have attributes. This is feeling a little Angular-y, doesn't it? I remember sort of the NG stuff from Angular days. This reminds me a little bit of Angular 1. I've never played with the later Angulars. They're on my list. Okay. You can also. That seems maybe too fancy, but okay. Certain characters are invalid inside HTML attribute names, such as spaces and quotes. The following is invalid. Oh, okay. This is because they're actually mounting it in the HTML. That checks out. Holy, 200 Jeopardy questions in a JSON file. 200,000, sorry. All right, we're getting serious here. That's wild. Okay, that's very cool. Something tells me this is a massive file. That's good to know. We may play with that. We may play with that. I was just gonna roll in here and like make some stuff up, but then you come up with like actual like a database of Jeopardy questions, and man, I'm not worthy. Wow. Wow. Okay. Gonna have to grab those files in the background while we're doing this. That's wild. They're gonna go into my data directory. I have just like a folder on my computer that's just that all it is all this folder is like data sets. It's all just like it's like all of the Scrabble words and all that kind of stuff. It's a fantastic resource when I just need like a random data set. What's in my data folder right now? Yeah, it's got like Scrabble words and some list of the top million top million websites and all that kind of stuff. It's just a cool folder, and I the reason I have a data folder is because I don't ever like back that one up because it's just a huge folder full of data that I could easily replace, but it's cool to have in my file system. So I'm going to grab that file. Sure, vbind shorthand. Oh, okay, that's fancy. On shorthand, also fancy. Okay, I want to jump a little bit ahead, even though I said I wouldn't jump too ahead, because I know that there's like, here, this is what I wanted to read about. This whole thing of single file components, I feel like is like where we're getting into the like next level stuff. I don't know if you can see this. I'll maybe even load that file. I don't know if you can see this image here. But they have this concept of single file components where it's, I mean, secretly, look at that. It's secretly kind of an HTML file, right? It's got a template tag, a script tag, and a style tag. And they define these sort of .vue files. And they can pull those in. And you can do syntax highlighting and stuff like that. That's super, super cool. So, you can still separate things in separate files. So really, I want to play with this. I want to play with this hot reloading single file component thing. So I'm going to spend a moment figuring out how to get that set up in getting that set. Setting my build set up from scratch, and you manually configure Webpack with Vue Loader. So we're going to bounce around and take a look at very quickly how to get a Vue project using Vue Loader on Glitch, because I think that's really what's going to be fun, is having the proper single file components. I feel like then we're really using Vue the way people use Vue. So let's get started with Vue Loader. So Vue Loader lets me use the single file.vue files, single file.vue components, which are going to be cool. So we're going to need, it seems like these, and then we will need, so there's a project called vue-cli, and maybe we can do vue-cli. My concern is vue-cli is going to want to make a folder, and my project already is a folder, right? So if I run vue-cli, it's going to make a folder in my folder, and maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe that's okay. Maybe we can give that a go. This is where, you know what? I think we're going to not waste time on stream, and we're going to try using vue-cli. And maybe later on I'll figure out how to run vue-cli properly within Glitch and all that kind of stuff. But let's take a look. So now we're like 4 levels deep in the stack. But I promise by the end of this stream, we're going to come back up the stack. We're going to have a working trivia game. Great. How do I install this? You're talking a lot. Installation. I really appreciate their attention to detail, but I want the vue-cli. So, okay, let's see if I can just get it from here. Go to Glitch's package manager and see if vue-cli is available. And it sure is. It's thinking a lot. Totally okay. Totally okay to think so much. Let's see what's going on in our logs here. Oh, it's downloading. Okay, so it's downloading all the packages it needs to run vue-cli. Rad. AJ Piano, it's not always possible to run a scaffolding command in a Glitch project. We're going to figure out how well this one works. But technically under the hood, this is just a Linux container. So there's no reason I couldn't do this. It's just going to be a matter of Glitch expects certain files in certain spots, or by default assumes certain files are in certain spots. And so I need to make sure that, so we're going to see how much this explodes. So I want to launch the console because I'm the project admin. I can actually jump in here and I have access actually to the file system of my project. You can see all the goodness there. You can see all the goodness in my file system. Check it out. I installed the vue-cli, and now I've got, and I believe Glitch helpfully I believe glitch helpfully auto, what's what I'm looking for? Linked the binary in. So I can easily, yeah, glitch automatically linked the binary from vue-cli into my path, which is super rad. So I should be able to say view, and we're going to get an out. We're going to response. We got view create options app name. View create help. Let's see what we got here. Inline preset, force clone proxy bear, beginner instructions. We know we're probably gonna want the beginning instructions. Use package manager when installing dependencies, skip prompts, use the save to remote preset. So the thing that I don't want is what I would love if I could say create the project in this folder. Don't create a new folder and put all the stuff in there, but create the folder where I'm standing. And that's the thing I don't think is possible. I want to say create folder in place. Oh, AJ Piano, you're looking to join. I think for the time being, I think I'm going to not have people join in here just so people don't run around in the project and run commands on the command line. No offense. I do trust you, AJ Piano, but it's going to create a little bit of extra chaos with extra keystrokes in our project. No worries. No worries at all. All right, so let's see what happens. Let's just run view create, and then what were the options? Oh, create, and the options. I'm going to say we already have git. So I'm going to say no git, and glitch underneath the hood uses pnpm, which uses hard links and symlinks to save on file space and make things run faster. So we're going to say use pnpm. Sure, let's see what happens. This is going to be fun. I'm going to shrink my screen a little bit. I just realized my on-screen caption text was over top of what I'm typing. I hit enter. This is, I think, taking its dear sweet time. Yeah, there it goes. I never created a project. That's why. Okay. Oops. Let's try that again, shall we? Trivia game. Let me try this one more time and say we're making a project called Trivia Game. I assume something is happening. Safe to assume, I guess. I just realized, hopefully my stream holds up as I'm like creating massive network traffic, but it's okay. Sometimes we forget to disable Dropbox while we are streaming, which is never a good idea. So what I'm doing right now is we're waiting for this command that I just ran on the command line. Oh, see, it was down a ways. I wonder what's going on there. There we go. Default, sure. Babel and ESLint. Sounds beautiful. Unknown package manager. Package manager is not supported. Which npm? Is npm secretly pnpm? That would have been cool. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. Fine. Let's see. That didn't work. Let's see what else we can do. Scaffold project without beginning instructions. Use specified npm client, specified registry. We're going to try that one more time. We'll not use npm, which seems like a terrible idea. We're not use pnpm. Try this one more time. Seems like vue-cli is trying to do a lot for us, and that's okay. I'm not opposed to a project doing a lot for us. Well, it's still doing it. It's yelling at me, but it's still doing it. So this is interesting. Oh. It's trying. I don't know what's going to happen. We're sort of, I may have to scaffold this somewhere and then import it as opposed to trying to run it in place. But we'll see. Ideally, we would support this. And maybe this is something I'll take from this is let's go figure out how to run these project installers and then take the resulting files and turn those into a glitch project. I think that'd be rad. See, honestly, I just wanted to create my package.json file. I don't want it to run npm install for me. It's doing it for me, which is, I don't love that, if I'm being honest. I would much rather it would just create it and then I would say npm install or have glitch in this case automatically install the stuff. I wish there was an option for saying don't run the installation. That's okay. Okay, it says done, invoking generators. Okay, it's not erroring yet. It's yelling at me, but it's not. It's yelling at me, but it's not erroring. He said with. Oh, we're having fun here. Oh, crap, my drag and drop. Want to just make sure that I'm not consuming all of the disk space on this project accidentally. But it seems like. Did it work? It did. So let's take a look. Okay. All right. We have a project. Look at that. So inside of my glitch project, I have a second glitch project. Okay. I don't love that. But what we're going to do is we're going to... Let's see how we can recover from this sort of weird situation we've got here. So right now I've got my app has a project, is a full project, and inside of it is a second folder, which is a full project. I want to kind of take all the files from this trivia game project and move them up a level. So first I'm going to start by deleting all these node modules that it just took all that time and installed. I don't want them. I'm going to have glitch install them for me. I wish it hadn't done that. That's okay. And then it's got a bunch of other files here. So what we're going to do, yeah, this will be fun, is just mv trivia game /star to here. So I'm going to take all the files in my trivia game folder and just move them up a level. Well, move it. I'm not... I wish that was that easy. Well, it moves some of it. What do we got up here? What's left? Public. MV trivia game. Oh, I have a public folder here already. Sure, whatever. There. So I'm now going to type the magic. There's a magic command in a glitch terminal called refresh. And what that does is it actually says, I just did a whole bunch of crap to the file system. Can you now update the editor and show me what it looks like now? So you'll now see that all of a sudden in my glitch editor, all those files I was just playing with now all appear, including some stuff that we don't from the old project, which I'll probably clean up in just a minute. Like I don't need this views/index.html anymore, but I might hang on to it for a minute. I definitely don't need this trivia game, but I probably need its git ignore. That git ignore is probably a really good idea. I'm sad that didn't get moved. Because something tells me there's a bunch of files that this is going to create. Cool. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. I may actually do that. I want my dist because I want this to work without having to run build every time. Cool. Okay. Tools, error. All right, I like it. I don't mind an error. I don't mind an error. Let's see what we've got going on in our error logs. Opt watcher command not found. So what's going on here is the glitch auto project running dingus is looking for a file to start the project. And you'll notice that there is no npm start here. It automatically assumes that you are going to run npm start. So I can actually just add a start command and say npm run serve. And now it will locate the serve, go run start, start's going to run serve, and everything's going to happen. So you can now see in our logs, the bottom, that it's actually starting the development server and doing all the magic. Invalid host header. Wow, okay, I don't know what that means, but it failed to compile and it's getting a little cranky with me. Whoa, okay. Look at all that. That all seems like there's a problem. So, saying what dependency is not found. Cache loader. Cryptic errors. We're having a good time. This is a barnstormer. I'm actually going to use sort of a... Gosh, I wish the console wasn't acting so janky. Let me try opening it in a new window. Yeah, that looks better. I'm going to run a... there's sort of a command called enable pnpm in the background, which is just going to go muck around and try to repair some of the stuff. I'm just going to let that run for a second. Hopefully that gets us sorted. Invalid host header. That's an interesting error to be getting from this, I feel. I love Node too, and sometimes Node loves me back. Today we're getting real deep in the capital P professional web development game. So, gonna get our knees hurt. Invalid host header makes me think that this project is serving a host header and something in my thing is getting very angry. So we're gonna see what's going on. All right. While this is doing stuff, let's look around this project because now we've got some interesting stuff going on, right? We've got import view from view, import app from app.view, and now we have a file called app.view. Look at that. That's all new. That's brand new to us. So now we've got these view component files, which we didn't have before. And they're slick. Looks like they're using ES6 modules, some nice styles, template tags. So theoretically, when this is working, we're going to see welcome to your Vue.js app. That sounds nice. And they're saying there's a component in here called hello world.view. In the background, I see PNPM still having the struggle times. That's okay. This is an ambitious one today, trying to get this CLI working in place. So it's okay if we run into a couple walls. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to clean up this trivia game folder while I'm waiting for everything to happen. I really don't like this whole thing where it says resolving and then downloaded 0. That doesn't seem auspicious at all. I'm going to delete our node modules folder again. I feel like rm-rf node modules should be on like maybe my family crest. Maybe that's the title of today's stream is rm-rf node modules. Maybe that's the motif. Classic web dev problem of getting the environment working so the magical quick scaffolding part can magically do its miracle thing. Absolutely, right? All you have to do is run this command once your environment is in pristine shape. And this is, I want to be clear, none of this is a Vue specific thing. Do not look at this and be like, Vue is blah, blah, blah. This is us having a like this is me having some times with the vue CLI and trying to run it in an environment that it maybe never expected, and that's okay. Okay, now it's saying vue CLI service not found. That's actually okay, I think. Dev dependency missing. Do we install the vue CLI service? It says we did. We don't have the vue CLI. I'm going to actually install the vue CLI as well, just in case. Since this program was created using vue CLI and then we deleted it, that could actually be part of it. So we're just going to... Did I grab the right one, or did I just grab the same one? Look at that. Grab the old one. JavaScript. Cool. Okay. So, installing the vue CLI. Yeah, a deprecation, that's fine. We're having fun today. We're having all the fun today. Circular JSON. I just like the names of these packages as they go by. Circular JSON is in maintenance only. Flatted is its successor. Okay. Hit that bubbly water. We've got a lot going on here. Ooh-wee. This is almost like a puzzle room today, right? Like it's a... I need to like find all the hidden keys and take apart the couch. I assume it's doing something still. It sure seems that way, doesn't it? So how's everyone doing while this is running? We'll start having a conversation and watch to see if that's finished. Um, Maybe I can even get my text on screen to look a little bit less terrible while we're. Looks like right now I'm trying to make it just like appear and have it look kind of nice, and maybe I'm using a terrible font. I was using Microsoft Sans Serif because I think it's funny. AJ Piano, you have a question? Yeah, if I'm waiting, absolutely. What's up? I am waiting forever. Oh, it does say setting up Git hooks and done, but that's okay. If you still have a question, go for it. I'm curious what your question is. Can I talk extemporaneously about the trade-offs of developing a glitch versus my normal editor? Oh, yeah, I could do that. I can absolutely do that. I've kind of taken a shine to the glitch editor. That's definitely, I think a me thing, but I've kind of really, yeah, like I said, I've taken a shine to it. Um, I'm a big fan of like the sort of integration. I'm a big fan of just this like nice seamless integration, where I'm editing, but I'm also interacting with the hosting service. It's really cool. I'm getting all this real cool real time feedback about what's happening with my code. Okay, I fiddle with the text long enough. So I'm getting all this rad feedback, right? As I type, I'm getting like, okay, I can see what the project's building. It's running text. You can run Vim in the glitch console. Whoa, someone's immediately gone. Someone's at 300 level here. Paperback Walnut. I suppose that would work. You could run Vim in the glitch console. That's not what I thought that's not what I was going, but that would totally work. We have been playing with sort of editor integrations. If you use Visual Studio Code, there's a beta integration where you can actually edit glitch projects live inside of VS Code, and it will propagate the VS Code stuff back to glitch, and it's sort of as if you're in the editor, but you're in your editor. I guess theoretically one could make a service that monitors like a file system and synchronizes changes, and it wouldn't be VS Code specific. That doesn't exist. I would say that the Vim VS Code, or sorry, Vim inside of a glitch console is pretty wild. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I absolutely came from Sublime Text Atom world, so the glitch editor is super familiar to me. I wasn't super used to Vim key bindings. There are folks on our team who did come from Vim or an Emacs background and sort of feel a little bit more adrift in the glitch editor, and I think we're slowly working on making them feel a bit more comfortable. Um, that said, we're in the process of building out a developer tools team who are going to be spending a lot of time focusing on the editor and tools around the editor. So hopefully, in the future, we may actually have the ability to let folks um, work in an editor of their choice or add Vim bindings or whatever. I can't promise any of those things, but it's definitely an area of investment for us. So hopefully that partially answers your question. Okay, app running locally at localhost 3000. Okay, that actually is informative. Can I change the port? I can. Okay, and I can specify the host. Okay. So I can open the browser. So dig around the console here, and I can now I can specify the port. It's kind of annoying that they just didn't do that. That's okay because it's an environment variable, and they could just learn what it is. Is that really what the PNV port is in this particular? That's interesting. Node process.env.port. Yeah, 3000 on this machine. Okay, rad. Um, I'm just hoping that they didn't override the port because that would be. Oh no, the default's 8080, so they're reading the port, but they're doing an invalid host header. Okay, that sounds like maybe Glitch is seeing something it doesn't like. We're gonna take a look and see what's going on. Um, Host typhoonverse.glitch.me. View invalid host header. Let's see what's going on. We're going to start searching. It looks like it's actually literally as easy as disabling a host check. That's pretty funny. I wonder how I do that from 4 levels deep, but that's pretty funny. Webpack dev server host. Webpack.config.js, but of course I don't have a webpack config.js because it's provided by vue-cli. I don't want to override. How do I? How do I? Can I mod the Webpack dev server config? Yeah, let's just correct. Just you know what? Let's do the naive thing real quick. There's a config webpack callback in to my view config. Can you be more specific? Oh, I see what you're saying. Let's take a look here. Simple configure in view.config.js. I can add stuff. Okay, thank you. That AJ Piano Profind. Okay, so I need one of those. We're just going to change this file to be that. View.config.js. The cool part is when I get all this stuff sorted out, hopefully at the end, we're going to have a working Vue project that other folks can start with, and that's going to be cool. I'm excited for that. Disable host check, true. And that's a dev server key. So I'll just take what's left. I don't need my new awesome plugin, but what I do need is this. I don't know that I need compress. That just seems like someone. Oh, what? Oh, I want disable host check, not whatever this person put in. I'm sure y'all are in the chat yelling that you're doing it wrong, and that's fine. But yeah, AJ Piano, when I'm done with this, I'm going to document this sort of as a like Vue starter, a Vue CLI starter, maybe even. Once we know that it's working. Absolutely. The idea is that I run into all these problems so other folks don't have to. Okay. Starting the dev server. Starting that dev server. Starting it so hard. Running. Boom! All right. Look at that. That looks like a working Vue app. Oh, that's awesome. Oop, I just made that too small to see. That's very exciting. Okay, so what have we learned? That some of these CLI tools, and when you have a helper project that wraps the helper project, that wraps the helper project, that wraps the helper project, sometimes somewhere in the middle of there, they're assuming something that maybe they shouldn't. But we can now say, heck yeah. All right, 2 p.m. hour. So, right where we are, right here. I'm going to pause because I feel like this, with maybe just a couple exceptions, and I'll come in and clean this up, but I think this is actually a Vue CLI starter. So I don't want to build our trivia game in here because then whoever remixes this starts with the trivia game. I'm going to say prototype Vue CLI starter. And I'm going to pause at this project, and then we're going to remix this project ourselves and build on top of that. So once this is So we're going to temporarily bid Typhoon Verse adieu. And later on, I'm going to polish that up and ship that as a Vue CLI starter. On top of that, we are now headed to what it seems to be Daffodil Chicken. You have a warning. What's my warning? Disk is nearly full. I'll have to take a look at that. Something tells me that there is a file. Those old node modules are running out of control here. But that's okay. Okay, but now we have a heck yeah Vue CLI starter. So we're now in Daffodil Chicken, which is no longer our previous project. I'm gonna update the stream text just to reflect that. Boom. Cool. So we are now in Daffodil Chicken. Um, excellent problem solver. 20 years Googling with 5 years Alta Vista prior. I love it. Yeah, thank you, AJ Piano. You are perhaps you you are perhaps one of the all stars of today's stream because you found the one line of code that I was seemingly bouncing around. Appreciated. Okay, so tools, console. We're gonna real quick see what's going on with that disk usage. Maybe we might sort that. Maybe I'll just scroll to the top. Oops. There we go. It's in the current node modules? That shouldn't count against me. All right, we can deal with that later as long as it's not getting worse. If it's getting worse, we're gonna have a problem on our hands. But a warning is okay. All right, it's time to make trivia game. So we're gonna go into our source of our project. If you don't have this anymore, and what constitutes a trivia game? I would use that blue, except for the thing that we're making isn't Jeopardy, because if it's Jeopardy, I get, like Jeopardy. Oh, that's a pretty blue though. Maybe we'll borrow their color blue, even though we're gonna do other things that aren't actually that. Okay, it's peril, at our own peril. All right, so our app, we're gonna. Avenir's pretty. I do like Avenir, but I think I'm gonna go to. We'll leave it. We'll leave their stack for the time being, and we'll say. Okay, we're gonna take a look at what the components that make up this project look like. It appears that this is sort of the main nonsense of what they've built, which is this hello world thing. I'm not sure who's providing that pretty gray background. It's not bad. I don't hate it. I just don't know where it's coming from. So we take a look at the CSS and see what's going on here. Pop this out, because that is too small a window to run DevTools. Maybe that, for some reason I thought this was a light gray and it's white. You need to get my monitor calibrated or my face calibrated. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We are going to temporarily blind ourselves. All right, we're taking care of the essentials first. I believe that's the code for text stroke. It is. If any of you ever played with Paint Order before, Paint Order is rad. Paint Order actually lets you control the order in which the like stroke is drawn around text and vice versa, because the default order is stupid. The default order draws the stroke on top. I don't know why they did that, but they added paint order to let as a backwards compatible way of letting you swap. So it's starting to look rad already. No one will ever confuse this with the legally distinct Jeopardy property. Okay, so what constitutes a? So we're actually need a file called trivia game. What's inside of the trivia game? Let's see. We're going to duplicate this file. And we're going to call it trivia game. So we're going to take our hello world and make one of those. And we're going to change it into trivia game.vue. And we're going to take all of these. And change our colors to white and black, because why not? That is some eye-searing. That is some eye-searing stuff. I love it. Gonna make that bold so it's a little bit more readable. And we're gonna swap out this hello world for a trivia game. By the way, we are cargo culting. I don't know hardly anything about how any of this works. I am just failed to compile. Look at that. That's exciting. That's super exciting, actually. Look at that. I kind of like that. That it just like spits out. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm missing a closed div. That's a really cool error screen. I dig the error screen. Now that this is working, I really like this. It was definitely kind of a bear to get working, but now that it's working, I kind of dig it. More than kind of dig it. I really dig it. I am missing the entire contents of my project now. That's okay. What's going on over here? App is empty. Sure is. Okay. Why? Trivia game. Oh, it's not called Hello World. It's called because I felt the need to rename everything. That's reasonable of me. I believe this was called Message originally. We're going to change the title because it's the name of our game. If someone remixes this, they can call their game whatever they want. Maybe they could call it Peril, as AJ Panel says, or Tribulation, or Adversity, Adversperty, any of those. Also, I don't need this. I mean, it's a pretty view image, certainly. I don't know where it comes from, and I kind of need to kind of wants to get rid of it. No offense, I think. No offense to the. Oh, that's right. That's how. Okay. I think our game is going to be called Adversity. I think that's the way. I think that's the right title for this game. And we no longer need this. But now we're going to need the tagline, can you overcome it? What is overcoming What is overcoming adversity? That's a deep question, actually. I don't know if I'm capable of going that deep. This is starting to look really stupid, and I love it. 10. We're gonna make that titles because I mean it's important, right? Everyone loves. I think by law there has to be an exclamation point at the end of it. Is that true? I will admit the font is all wrong, but bear with us. Okay, so what's in a game of adversity, right? We've got big board. Got the big board. You got to go to the big board. I feel like you have to go to the big board. I feel like that's like the number one thing you do, um, which means our project needs. Now we're really getting into this. We need can I just use like bare names or I have to say dot view? I have to say dot view. That's okay. We're gonna do that. I'm not opposed to that. New file. Now we're making components. Now we're really cooking with gas. I like this. This is looking good already. All right, so we're exporting a component like that, it looks like, is how we do this. All right, so now we got the big board, which is important, always important, vital for any of these things. It doesn't seem to be mounted. That's okay. Let's see what's going on here. Do I have to instantiate it? Maybe. Components. I see. And then how do I'd say components, and I just say and that's gonna, I think that's gonna do it. Boom, that big board. Okay. The title did not pass through. That's interesting. Lost my, oh, I see why. Because I deleted it. Title. And that looked like it was a magic, like, typing object. That big board. Cool. So what's in the big board? In my heart, the answer is that the big board contains categories, and then each category has questions. And each question has values. Do we want that to be vertical stripes of categories? That might make sense, right? I think that makes sense. Categories and questions. I think the question is, do we want them to fill? Do I want to create a category tier? I think I do. So we're gonna. So the big board has a, how do these styles look? Style scoped, they say. Whatever, for whatever reason. And then we say display. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's why. Big board. Display, grid, template, rows, 1F, repeat, 5, flexible regions. Is that right? Is there 5? Is there 5 in anonymous trivia game? Maybe we should just let people provide whatever they want? Doing a little off-screen research real quick. 6. So it's going to be like this. So there's 6 categories, and then each category is going to have n questions. I think that's how we're going to do it. So now we need to create a category component. I have to say, now that it's all working, we're off to the races. Kind of like that. So this is now the category. And that's got a name. And then, so we're going to have a name. It's going to have halt and catch. Let's see what you got here. Okay, bouncing back. Halt and catch. What's that you linked there? I don't know. I don't know how to do arrays yet. Maybe we'll bounce back and learn how to do arrays in a second. In a second, my cats are fighting behind. Seems fine. Okay. Glitch can run all kinds of stuff, halt and catch. It's actually kind of incredible. Glitch is really just a container infrastructure. We support Node out of the box, but ultimately can run kind of anything. Obviously, you're limited to what the disk space and CPU power can do. But yeah, we are flexible. So now we're getting an interesting place where I don't actually 100% know how we describe these. I guess we'll go to props and just learn about it. Okay, props, post title. Oh, if you want props to be specific types, you can enforce it. That's interesting. Okay, but we don't have to do that. That's what I'm realizing. That's probably okay. I'm not too strict here. For the time being, we're just going to do okay. Category. A category is, and then that is name, and what do I have to do to actually mount and do magic here? Oh, down here, I need to say in components or in big board, I need to import categories because I haven't actually done that. Rad. But we are cooking. We are cooking with gas. 230. We'll see how far we can get. So components, and we need category, or big board needs to be able to import the category and then use it. So how are we doing? How are we doing on here on the right? All right. So there are our categories. We've got, if you can see, the font's kind of small. That's okay. It's funny when you all of a sudden get those errors as you're typing. It's actually doing a pretty fast live keep up. Okay, how are we doing here? All right, so what do we see? We've got some pew 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 daily double action here. Cool. As I scale this up, and then categories obviously have questions. I'm going to call these question tiles because there's probably going to be questions on the screen, obviously, also. And they're going to have probably an ID ultimately for the time being. We're just going to say question tile, and then how do we do a loop? How did we do a loop? There was a way to do this. List rendering. There we go. So it'll be question and questions. Yep, V4. It's now getting salty because question tile has no matching end tag. That's fine. Okay, it's unsalted. But of course, we're now going to need questions or question tiles. New file. I'm also just copy pasting from file to file and renaming things as I need to. And these are actually going to call these, yeah, question tile. And they, by default, span v if asked. I wonder how you do not. I wonder how you can do it. Is there a concept of not? Because I want to show two different things, right? If it's asked, I want to show like that it's been asked. If it's not asked, I want to show the price, for lack of a better word, right? How that's value, $2,000, whatever they say. So let's see, wrong thing. List rendering, conditional rendering. Let's see how we do not. V if, V else. Oh, oh it couldn't have been simpler. Props, name, and this is question. So these are going to be value asked title. If you pass the title through, it'll go here. Otherwise, it'll just say nothing, I'm going to assume. Else. Did I get that colon statement right? No, it's equals. Asked value. And question tiles, I don't think they need any styles yet. Okay, so our categories are cool, 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 and cool. So the props on a question are value, asked, and title. So we're going to spin up v question tile for question in questions. I wonder if I need to actually say like that. We'll see if it unpacks it. Well, this is where we're going to start to learn some interesting stuff. So how do I create a big board and attach like a bucket of objects to it? Because now I want to do the nested like state, right? So how do I unpack the value questions? They explain this. Computed properties and watchers, I think. That's the computed, no. Right, now we want the ability to pass like an object, the model, in and unpack it. Like with this, props. Title. We could also do an array of posts, and then you want to do v4 bind key post.id, v-bind title post.title. We can dynamically pass props. That's probably the way to go for the time being, is this bind. So it'll be v-bind name, name, v-bind title, title. Okay. Don't know how to do this quite yet. I'm going to punt on that. For now, I'm just going to do category for question in questions, v bind, and what were the two things? It was key equals, so it'll be value question.value. And I see that these start to get a little bit messy. That's okay. Like so. Wish my auto indent was doing a more intuitive thing here. But that's okay. So, okay. Don't actually have a meaningful question set of questions here yet. I wonder how to pass those as an array. How do you pass an array to an object? Props. Passing static or dynamic props. Yeah, we've also seen props, dynamic find any type of value. How do you pass a number? We use vbind to say it's dynamically assign the value of a variable. So vbind likes equals post.likes. Passing an array. Okay, so vbind questions equals post.questions. But I don't know what post is. If I want to pass all, here we go. If I want to pass all, this is what I think we want. Want to pass all the properties of an object as props. You can use v.bind without an argument. So if I just say vbind post, it's going to bind, just pass through everything. That's exactly what we wanted. We can make this way simpler. We can just say v.bind equals question. And that's going to pass through whatever the question in questions is for the time. So how do I then pass that in programmatically? I'm trying to figure out what the point is where I can attach this data. Props are one form of one-way binding. Yeah, that's fine. The prop is used. Because I'm doing magic all the way down, right? So technically, I think I have to pass it in all the way from out here, all the way from my app. But even then, how do I actually hydrate this with value? I wonder how do I pass in the outermost values? I don't actually know. Oh my goodness. I don't actually know. That's interesting. I wonder how. I feel like this is one of those things where if I could see just like a tiny bit of code, I'd immediately get it. Right? So the outermost values are. So like in app.view, right? How would I pass in not a string here, but where does that outermost thing come from? This is the topmost. Oh, no. This is the topmost thing. Right now I have a hard-coded list of categories where there's a list of questions. Correct. Um, so in app.view, which is actually not the outermost file, main.js is the outermost file. Okay. H app, whatever H is. So let's go read about the view instance. I think that's what I'm missing. There's a thing called the view instance, and I think that's how I pass everything in. No, duh. It's just the word data. Is it really just the word data? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's it. Okay. New view, L app data object. Can I really just say data? Data? You think? Let data equals title categories, right? I have a list of categories, and then each category is going to have name, cool, questions. Right? I think this is ultimately the structure we're going to have. And then at the end of that, there's a closed array. And questions have a value. And a, let's say, asked, false. For the time being, we're just going to copy paste this because I just need to get through to have working. Okay. Apparently my project has an error. Let me try refreshing. What do my logs say? Oh, I didn't mean to click debugger. Can you give me the logs? I know, it's not. Oh, okay, we're back. So, we now have our board, right? So now we're going to start using this data that I've passed in, and hopefully that's going to work. I think. v.bind equals k, and then we've passed categories in, and those are going to pass through the big board, right? So this is actually going to be category. It's actually going to say v for in categories v bind category. And then we're going to have one cool. If I did this right, there'll be one cool and not 4. There's 0 cools. Fair. That's probably because this doesn't have Yeah, I know. Give me a second. There isn't a title crop on questions. Okay, what are we getting here? Failed to compile props categories, no comma. Right. Okay. There isn't a title prop on the questions. That's true. Okay, so trivia game, v.bind categories. Did that work? I don't actually know if that worked. Let's just go to the big board and just do something dumb and just say feel like we're tap dancing on the edge of this working, but definitely not there yet, obviously. Obviously not there yet. Oh, only if I have dashes. Okay. Yep. Passing an object, passing the properties of an object. v-bind post. Try changing the game title in the data object. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Peril. This guy right here. Boom. He knows what's up. Okay. So this will be v bind title equals title. Oh, I keep forgetting my commas. Getting comma burnt. Getting comma burnt all day. Comma burnt all day. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Name, app, props, title, categories, components, trivia game. Bound the title to title. Will it even read the title that I'm passing in at all? No. Doesn't print it even a little bit. So what I'm learning is that maybe this was wrong. Let's go read about. Maybe this has been wrong from the beginning. Okay. So the view instance. L app data object. Okay. Then why does my view look weird? Mine looks like this, which doesn't seem like why do I need an H? What is H? Why do your things not match? Data I. Where's mount? So what is mount? That's not even here. Oh my goodness. Okay. 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 What do I have here? This looks nice. This looks great. We're going to switch to whatever. Oh, I see. But there's like a whole extra thing here. Let's just move it down. Let's move these down. Let's throw this away and see what happens. Anything? Anything different whatsoever? No. No. Okay. vue-cli example. Let's go look for some example code in the dwindling minutes of this hour. Hmm. This was a tricky one today. This was one of the harder ones. Sometimes these go like a dream, and sometimes they go like this. That's okay. That's gonna be okay. But it's definitely definitely a tough one. Look. Look. Here's how they do it. Data. input hello. Right? Do we see this? Try another one. Just looking at examples. Data. Now this one is a function. Is the previous one a function? No, it's not. But notice that neither of these are mounting. Neither of those are mounting. Why do the two things look completely different? All their examples don't mention mount, and the mount, yeah. Oh, and this looks even more different. Okay. Global API. New view. Render. What's render? So there's a lot of there's obviously a tremendous amount of magic underneath the hood here, which is totally okay. I need to figure out how to get in. Okay. Options. L. Provide the view instance an existing DOM element to mount on. Very reasonable. Template. String template, no. Render. Alternative to string templates and leverage the full prototype project. The render function receives a create element method as its first element used to create V nodes. So that's what this is. But then the data is not being passed through. Yeah, exactly. AJ Piano. We are this close. There's one thing we're missing where all the data is just not going through the pipeline. And I don't know what it is. The only thing I can think of, like I would think that this function, this render function, is going to be past that data, or app is magically going to have the data, right? Like this is my expectation, is that something so some bit of magic that's just missing right at the bottom. I feel like we're so close to it. Yes, double dot. That's no good. I'm also running into this issue right now where I need to fix this, but Glitch is like restarting my dev server every time I change this JS file, which is not helping. That's why it's moving so slowly. I just need to add a watch.json to make it not do that. I may just throw a temporary disable. There's a magic file called watch.json in Glitch where if you create one, you can tell it like leave everything alone and just run when I tell you to run. Include right now. This is going to say only restart when I touch a file called trigger rebuild, which is not what I want. But view.config.js, and then I'll create a file called. Hate to do it this way, but it'll at least get me moving, actually ultimately moving faster. Aha, take a look. So we have a function called create element, and create element does what? course I broke it. Watch.json. What's going on here? Everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong today, folks. That's okay. I've been living a charmed life, I feel. At position 92, what JSON file is that? Okay. Well, now I've got a double in here. That would potentially be the issue. Aha! Okay, we're back in business. Software. Software is hard. Software is hard, folks. I'm gonna spend a few. We're kind of coming up on clock time for the stream, which is usually 2 hours. But I'm gonna spend a few more minutes on this just to see if we can get data flowing, and then maybe next week we could do a part 2 of Vue where we plunge back into this and make something cool. Because I feel like I am not yet defeated by this, and I'm probably gonna spend some more time on it. Maybe we just keep streaming. Maybe if folks want to stick around and watch me beat my head against the wall, we can do that. That could be fun. So, create element. We're back in business. It's going to restart a lot less often. Maybe like, what if I just say create element and just do that? That seems wrong. That seems like that's not what they're going to want me to do. What do we got here? It's yelling at me. Sure enough. So what is create element? Let's go learn what create element is. Right? Like, this is what I want. But notice that they're not providing a top-down class. They're also not providing a top-down class. They're binding straight to an app. Yeah, AJ Pano, if you find a working startup, I'm looking through their things to see if any of these happen to work the way that I would expect them to, that I would immediately like, none of these do the thing that the vue-cli default app does, which is sort of that's sort of kind of being a bummer to me. I don't understand what I'm missing. View single file component. View single file component. Data props. That sounds like enough words in my... How to specify props with a single file component. Can I use props on a single file component? Sharing data across Vue.js components. I try getting the render function all together and just pass a data property, but then it wouldn't... There's no reference to app then, AJ Piano. It will just... It won't know to... I don't think it would know to run the word. Right? Okay, sure. But notice that this doesn't have single file components, so it's looking at L app for the bindings. But I don't have an L app because my stuff is defined in Vue is defined in view. It's defined in these .vue files, which I'm importing. Like, I'm just missing this last piece of glue. That's how do you say new view, refer to a single file component, and pass data. That's all it's missing. And I feel like with the second I figure this out, I'm going to go, like, maybe make a pull request to their docs. Because it's kind of freaking me out that I can't figure it out. Not really freaking me out, but you know what I mean. That's way too advanced. lapp. Here we go. What in the hey? What in the hey? Sorry, I'm being very quiet because I genuinely don't know. Right? So look at this example. All the examples, they show one of two things. They show data entering a view app that's defined in the HTML file, or they show single file components and no data is flowing. And I refuse to believe that there isn't an in between. There has to be. So I don't know what's going on. I think I'm gonna just real quick tweet about this. So I'm saying filling my wits end here, filling at my wits end here. How do I pass data from a new view to a single file component? Unable to find a working example or an example that shows this. Okay. Okay. So I've tweeted my call for help. uh, using view single. And now I'm doing it not just for me, but for anyone following behind me to figuring out how that is feeling like something is going vastly over their head. Cool. Yep, you listed a lot of dependencies. and you didn't do, you skipped right over it. This is wild. This is really, really wild. Really wild. Maybe this. Maybe this. Maybe instead of specifying a render, I do that. And then I say, right? That could be it. View worn. Not better. Not strictly better. In fact, actually worse. Oh, mercy. Let me try another thing. I'm going to go take a look at index, wherever my index.html is. I actually don't know. Where is index.html? It's not that anymore. Where's like the outermost file here? Speaking of feeling like I'm taking some, like, where's this file being created? Because it has a div ID app. Where's that file come from? That's not, is it public index.html? It is. Okay. So, right? What if I in here said, right? So now we've got an app. If I pass it here and say, yay, no, it's not even hydrating my app. It doesn't even acknowledge that it exists. There's no reference to the data or app in source main.js anymore. Is that true? Oh, there's certainly no reference to data anymore. View app is at the top. So I'm trying to say that, like, components, right? This is like a thing that things do. There certainly isn't a reference to data anymore. You're right. So thank you. Thanks for everyone who's sticking with me through this one. Today is a tricky one, but I feel like the ultimate outcome of this is going to be super rewarding. This is gonna be the big one. I feel like there's something super mega genuinely obvious that's not happening. And that's okay. Create element, no. Oh, maybe. No, it's view.component, not view. Not new view. Funky, 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 funky. Let's go back to single file, their definition of single file components. You know what? I didn't ever look at the sample. Take a look at the sample app, the one that they link to. Maybe there's something here. Okay. Look. Oh, look. That looks super similar to what I was just doing, doesn't it? We're going to steal that because that looks super similar. And I feel like maybe I've just been missing the fourth thing, right? Is it this whole time? Literally this whole time, maybe I'm missing the fourth thing? Or maybe not. Maybe that still doesn't work. I'm getting this weird view warning. The runtime only template compiler is not. I feel like that's not a problem. Okay. Okay, but now I'm going to pause. What is app? App is this file, app.view. That looked right. So okay, we're gonna look at this. We're gonna take a look at this to do app really quick. Their data is still not. They're still not passing data. Why aren't they passing data? Could they pass data? If I go to main, could I pass data here? Could I say app title equals yay? Is that just gonna work? And then an app.view. Do I get yay? No, but that's okay. That's probably because I have two. Right now I have two apps, so I'm just gonna both saying app title equals yay, neither of which working. Typical. Okay, we're gonna try doing some title, source some data here. Just inject the data at a different point. Now I'm just getting a blank screen. I feel like we've really moved backwards. I feel like we've really moved backwards, which is not fun. Not that, but look, the app. Is app.html missing from my HTML file? Did I delete it? No, it's right here. Where is it? I think that error in the console is not to be ignored too, but I don't know why I suddenly started seeing it. Like, I don't have a good answer for why that's suddenly. I agree. I don't think it's compiling the templates, but I don't know why it's not compiling the templates. Oh, you're sending me issues. Okay. Okay, GPNO. Let me take a look here. Make sure all your components are defined in star.vue files because they're precompiled. So what you're telling me is that the one thing I just tried. Okay, so I can't just. Ugh. Ugh, 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 ugh. Okay. Okay. So in main.js, I can't do that. This needs to be. Right? That's what they're saying. And that will make the error go away. I'm no longer trying to render. There's no template code. Yeah, okay. So we have our thing rendering again. It doesn't even get title from itself. It literally doesn't get title from anywhere. Yeah, no, it was because I was trying. So AJ Piano, the problem was I was trying to use template syntax, but I can't because the view that uses the single file components use doesn't support pre-rendered or live rendered templates. So I have to not do that. New view VM app mount app. Yeah, the issue that I'm running into is that I can't get data through that pipeline. No data, I can't pass data. And that's absolutely baffling to me. Continues to be baffling to me. And I can't imagine. Uh, See, look, there's Zillow. So here's an example. Here's an example. Here's the example they linked to on Code Sandbox. Note that from outside, there's no data. They have data, but there's no data outside. Right? So we're going to take a look at the to-do list, and they have a default list of to-dos here in to-do list.view. But I can't pass it from outside. So you can't pass it from main for whatever reason. So, I mean, we're going to punt right now. We're going to punt real hard on trying to get this to work. And we are just going to take all of this data thing, which apparently not actually allowed, doesn't actually work. Go over here. Think I can just do that. Well, remove the semicolon probably so it doesn't explode. Failed to compile. That's exciting. That's new and different. Oh, yeah. Okay. There. I got too fancy. The good news is we're no longer use the prop default value instead. Okay, new errors. New, fresh, exciting errors. So we go back to their example. If to do, okay, to do and to do's. So these not props anymore? Oh, they're not props because they're not coming in from outside. They're data. They're state, right? They're not, okay. They're state, to use the React term. Hey, take a look. Data's flowing again. That wasn't agonizing at all. Okay. Feels hacky, but it's flowing. Yeah, I think at this point I'm so desperate to just have it work that I'm okay with it just flowing for a minute. Oh, and I don't want this. I don't want typed. I understand that people typed is probably smarter, but I'm not no in no mood. In no mood. That's really interesting that it's like a hermetically sealed that it's like a hermetically sealed environment where I can't get data through there. I bet there's some way to do it, and I just am not smart enough. Oh yeah, you're giving me all kinds of weird sassafras here. Title, categories. Interestingly, big board. So now we go to big board. We're just going to drill down. Big board has categories, and it uses category. Trivia game has components. Big board. Maybe I could probably skip the board thing. That's kind of dumb, but I don't know. I feel like if there's ever going to be like score and other stuff at that level, we need more than one layer. The big board does exist, and it seems like they're saying it's bound to categories. Um, oh, I'm getting that thing where I've looked at the word big board, looked at the word categories too many times, and now it looks like a. I wish there was a way of inspecting this stuff. I wonder if there's like a view extension. We're going to see if there's a view extension that lets me see the view data that's flowing through my thing. Probably should have done that sooner. Yeah, take a look at that. There's a view dev tool. Rad. Today we learned the power of custom tooling. That's fine. I don't care if I can access that. Open DevTools and look for the view panel. Trying. Oh, I'm trying. Open DevTools and look for the view panel. It's in settings and just hidden by default. No, there it is. Where is it? My window not wide enough? This is where we're having so much fun today. Whoever's still on with me, you're the true champions. You're the heroes of this stream. Aha! I don't know why it took so long. But hey, I don't know if you can see that. Oh right, look. All right, now we're getting we've installed the Vue dev tools. I almost certainly should have done this a minute ago. But we've got the Vue dev tools. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if I can scroll zoom. If scroll zoom makes any difference to you, I don't know if it does. I don't think screen capture works that way. I'm looking. Yeah, scroll zoom does work for you. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this, but I've got I can now click around and see, okay, trivia game got an array of categories. Boom, that's rad. Right? Trivia game has this array of categories, and they're just not making it to big board. So we know where the data is no longer flowing. That's fine with me. That's super okay with me. Um, I'm just going to say, for now, that's just going to do that. That seems fine. Okay, trivia game, big board. How about now? Oh, I love that it even gives. I love the highlighter. This is actually kind of nice. Pretty nice. Oh, v dot bind. How long has that said v dot bind? How long has that said v dot bind? You know, you know. I wish it would see. Now I'm just feeling like, oh man, I wish I had a dev tool that would have. Ooh, okay, that looks different and actually kind of better. Okay, now I'm starting to feel. I'm feeling the weight lift off my chest. I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to like feel a little better. So, big board. Am I just, is big board still just like logging categories? Yeah, it is. Okay. So, for every category, I create a category, and then I need to create questions for each of those. And look, oh, there's actually question tiles on the page. If you can see that, they're just blank because they don't, because I'm not displaying the value yet, I think. But there are question tiles, and that's rad. Uh, and then should see how this v else works a little bit more, but put some styling on that. Okay, still not showing our value. So I'll pop open them view dev tools again for unknown custom element question tile. Did I register the component correctly? I'm going to guess that I didn't register the component correctly. No, I definitely didn't. Okay, that checks out. That sounds like me. One sec. Going to import, we need to import the question tile into category. It's all the way down. I get it. I get it. This is not villainous. This is just, it was a little confusing at first. I still don't know how to get that final data pipeline thing, but maybe at the top level of my thing is where that's where I put the logic or access an API that lets me, because I could import any ES module from there, I think, right? And if I'm importing any ES module I want, then I can just pull up a thing that feeds me data. So I don't think it's that bad. I think we're actually in a less bad. I think the data pipeline thing, we were trying to be a little too. I think the data thing is just, that's my entry point ES module, and I need to get my data from there. Ooh, okay. Look at us. We're doing all right. We are doing all right. Oh, and category name should not go here. It should go there. Because I'm going to do something a little bit skeezy with category real quick. I'm going to use display contents to fake things out. And then, which now lets me make my big board actually be a grid. And it's grid template columns, repeat 6, 1FR. But it's actually going to be grid flow. I think rows maybe? Oh, I could never keep this straight. See how this looks. It's gonna look a little janky. That's okay. Well, it's laid out in the opposite direction I would have had it otherwise go. But I can never remember how grid autoflow works. That's how it works. Cool. So that's literally the category. Cool. And then let's go back to our big board. No, our trivia game. Is that where our data comes from? No, it comes from app. Why would it come from trivia game? Gonna just real quick put these on one line. And then just like stuff the ballot box. Just so we have all the categories we want. And then once I get my commas right, so this stops erroring. Close. We are close. That doesn't look quite correct, but I feel like we're close. And I think once I get this laid out in a way that pleases me, we are done for the day. I think that's... Boom. That looks great. I'm very happy with that. That was really, really a tough one. This week was a tough one. That's okay. I'm okay with this. I'm okay. But yeah, this was the most. This is realistic. This is what the real debugging life is like. I feel. But this is starting to look like a thing, and I'm happy with that. And so I will likely wrap it here. And by likely wrap it here, I mean I'm definitely going to wrap it here because we got to a point where it's mostly working. So what do we do today? We dove headfirst into Vue. Unfortunately, we may have dove headfirst into the shallow end of the pool with Vue, but that's all right. And first we got the Vue CLI spitting out an application in Glitch. Then we kind of massaged that so it was working within Glitch, got all the stuff debugged, and then we tried to build a trivia game on top of it a legally distinct from Jeopardy trivia game, please, Alex. Alex, hope you get well and beat cancer. 2, please don't come for me. But hopefully we can actually pick this up where we left off at some point and actually get it working. But yeah, this was it was fun. You know, it was fun. I was gonna say I won't say it's fun, but it was fun. AJ Piano, you were definitely the rock star of the stream. Thank you for sticking with it and helping me debug and rubber duck. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you all have a good evening. And I'm going to play this out with a little bit of music. Hopefully. Sounds like y'all can hear it, but I can't, which is fine.